am the director, one of the directors and co-convener of Transport Watch. Transport Watch is our advocacy to take on the challenges, the day-to-day challenges of traffic, mobility, issues for our people, because we believe that it's a fundamental human right to be able to get everyone where they need to go in a timely and safe and sustainable manner. Mayroon po tayong 5 pillars of advocacy in Transport Watch, and we're very happy to host the media briefing this afternoon. Unang-una po dyan ay ang road safety management. Pangalawa po ay safer roads and mobility. Pangatlo ay safer forms of vehicles. Fourth would be safer road users. At tayo pong lahat yan. Panglima ay post-crash response, no? So, ito po yung 5 pillars na champion natin dito sa Transport Watch. At ngayong hapon, we are very, very happy to have with us what we feel is one of the most sterling examples of public-private partnership related to a nexus issue, which is our current traffic crisis. And just to introduce po, or siguro karamihan po sa inyo ay co-advocates natin in mobility, but I'd still like to reintroduce the members of our panel this afternoon. To my right is Mr. George Royeca, the Chief Transport Advocate of Angkas and a transport revolutionary, no? To his right is, of course, Mr. Ariel Lim, the former Presidential Assistant on Public Transport Affairs. And currently, just like George and myself, is a public transportation advocate. And we will be joined in a little bit, is that right? I think he's on his way up, Hannah, right? Mr. Ariel Indon, who is the traffic czar of Quezon City, and the head of Quezon City Task Force for Transport and Traffic Management. He is also the former director of the LTFRB, and he's also the founder of the Lawyers for Commuter Safety and Protection. Now, I don't think there would be enough discussions to begin to scratch the surface of our current traffic crisis. But I think that what we have right now is another chance to dig deeper into what was discussed. When we heard that there was going to be this international conference hosted by Terrapin and also by the DOTR, no? Isa tong global conference, ang safer roads, no? Safer roads and mobility. Na pagtunan po namin na napakalaking issue talaga ng mobility at traffic dito sa Pilipinas, because I think it's the first time in ASEAN that this is happening. So I'd like to direct our first question to Mr. Ariel Lim. Given what we talked about earlier po during the panel regarding the worsening traffic situation in the country, what are some of the steps that you think the government and also the private sector should undertake to at least ameliorate the problem at maibsan, kumbaga maibsan po yung problema? Mr. Lim?
Okay, first is education for discipline. Kaya una sinabi natin, dapat isama na rin yan, yung tungkol sa traffic sa ating mga schools. Diba? Dahil nakikita po natin na ang traffic po sa Metro Manila alone is talaga pong beyond talaga doon sa, sabi nga natin mariresolve within these years. Kasi mukha pong napakahaba ang tatahakin nating problema na to. Una, yun nga sinasabi namin, disiplina. So kailangan ituro na sa mga bata sa maaga pa lang. Like yung sinasabi namin, Katulad po ng tamang pagsakay, pagbaba, paglalakad, pagtawid, yun po ang nawala. Yun po yung isang kailangan natin. Ikalawa po, siguro kailangan natin ng mga private manufacturers and dealers ng mga sasakyan na kausapin natin. Kasi kung sa ibang bansa po nagawa yan, bakit hindi natin magagawa? Kasi yun na po yung isang napakalaking problema this time. Wala po tayong solusyon dahil hindi naman po dumadami yung kalsada, hindi rin po dumadami yung ating mga dadaanan, kundi dumadami yung sasakyan. How many cars ang lumalabas every day? Lahat po yan nasa Metro Manila. Idagdag pa po natin yung paglilimita siguro, kaya sinabi ko, doon po sa mga kalsada na dapat daanan, yung pong mabuhay lanes. Up to now, nakita natin, doon mismo sa mabuhay lanes may mga nakapark. Kahit na po may order ng ating Pangulo, still, gaya na sinasabi ko, nandoon pa rin po. Dahil nga, siguro po, political will. You know why? Isa pong problema natin is, pag taga roon, barangay ang nakakasakop, hindi naman mababantay ng kung sino. Pero still, nandun dahil hindi nila mapigilan dahil constituency. So, sa tingin po natin, strict implementation of law is another way para makatulong. And then, gaya ng sinasabi natin, siguro ang isa po na dapat nating palawitin is yung pong train system. I believe, for myself, the main solution to the problem is a transport system, mass transport. This is the train system. Yung MRT po natin, kung titignan natin, na 16 na tumatakbo, siguro po kung ito'y madadagdagan, mas makakabawas po. Dahil yung mga tao, hindi na magdadala ng sasakyan papunta sa kanilang mga pupuntahan, trabaho, eskwelahan, or whatever na sila puntahan. Second, yung pong train system, north and south, yun po yung napabayaan. Kung titignan natin, dati po tayo may train system sa north hanggang Rosario La Union po yan, pero after po ng Marcos time, nawala po yan. Meron po yan, if you remember, 1960s, 70s, nandiyan po, nakakasakay kami dyan.
Hindi ka ba naman pinapanganak ng panahon na yun?
No, I'm 1960s, 66 po. Medyo malidad na po, medyo hindi na halata. 1966, ako po yung pinanganak. 1970, nagpupunta kami ng Baguio. Sumasakay po kami ng train. No, papunta ng Rosario, La Union. Then sa Rosario La Union, bababa ka po doon dahil hanggang doon na lang paakyat ng Baguio. Sasaluhin ka ng PNR pass. Papunta po ng Baguio. Yun po ang isa sa nawala. So, yun naman pong Bicol, I am from Naga City. Hanggang ngayon po, since panahon ni GMA, nawala po yan. Hanggang ngayon, ilang presidente. I hope na ito pong sinasabi, I think the OTR na mukha pong this year, no, may mabubuksan na yung line na yan. Sana lang po, mas maraming bagon. Kasi kaya ko na sinasabi namin, ang worsening traffic from EDSA, sabi nga nila, galing daw sa mga bus, na galing sa south especially. Diba? So kung titignan niyo po, kung tatakbo ang trend dyan, mababawasan po ang bus na galing Bicol Region because makakapagsakay po sila mas marami at doon na lang po sasakay yung tao at sila mismo hihina yung kanilang kita dahil lilit yung pasahero dahil malilipat sa train. Siguro po isa yon para maging dahilan na sinasabi nga mabawasan po yung bus natin sa EDSA. So that's a three na napaka-importante po na gawin natin.
Diyos mabalos. Thank you po. But the thing about trains and also long-term solutions that are related to infrastructure is precisely that, it's long-term, right? But the problem is, the problem is so pressing in the here and the now. George, some of the policymakers have said that Angkas is perhaps one of the best non-infra immediate solution to traffic that has been innovated, right? At least over the past 24 months. Ano ang masasabi mo ang role ng Angkas vis-a-vis this build, the infra solutions that are being undertaken by the government and the OTR? What role does Angkas play into this picture?
I think it's a combination of both. No? Infrastructure is very important. Infrastructure is That's the ultimate strategy. You need that in place. Mass transit is the most efficient, hands down. But you need an interim solution. Yung pangtawid, di ba? Tinatawag natin pangtawid. Panggitna. Transition po yan eh. And I think Angkas and other forms of small, agile, creative ways, especially in this ride-hailing economy or ride-sharing economy na tinatawag natin, really serves a purpose para itawid yung transition na yun. And that's, I think, where the government sees the value of Angkas. Initially, they were very skeptical, and rightly so, because what we realize is it's not Angkas versus the government. But we realized that we were both coming from two different perspectives, pero with trying to achieve one goal, which is really to lessen the traffic woes of its commuters or its people. But when you're talking about the welfare of your countrymen, you really need to be skeptical in reference to kanino mo ibibigay yung permiso para alagaan sila. And I've grown to realize that, which is why when Secretary Togade and Undersecretary Mark De Leon decided to create the technical working group, we spent 5 months yata, 5 or 6 months, really deliberating. And this was multi-sectoral. No? We had the commuter groups. We also had the safety advocates. We also had Senate there, representatives from the Senate, representatives from Congress. So it was really multi-sectoral. And I really think that this is a very good example of non-infrastructure policy measures that the government can do. Another example is the hatchback. When DOTR weighed in on LTFRB in allowing the hatchback to proceed. No? I mean, tama na nga naman, kung aalaw ang motorsiklo, hatchback pa. Diba? So, that was also another glaring example. No? So I'm very hopeful, and I'm very confident that the government is actually listening to the people. We may have differing views, we may be from different opposing perspectives, but it's always one goal. The problem of congestion is not a Metro Manila issue. It's an issue of every single city that will be progressing. Cebu, arguably, actually hindi na arguably, galing lang ako doon, talagang mas traffic na sa Metro Manila. As in, panalo na si Cebu. Maliit yung daan eh. At walang alternate routes. Right? So everybody goes to the Cebu. Pang-apat na yata na bridge yung kinoconstruct nila between Lapu-Lapu and Cebu, Mactan. So, if you do not plan for congestion, which, every robust economy or growing economy has to go through, you really have that problem. And it's not a roads issue. Yung joke na, di ba? Maglagay ka ng second floor sa EDSA, mapupuno yan in one day. Puno pa rin yan. Traffic yan, level 1, level 2. Maglagay ka ng level 3, traffic yan. Siguro sa level 10, hindi na. But that's ridiculous. Right? So, we need to come up with really effective ways to use our existing system. And I think the motorcycle taxi has been doing it informally. They've been doing it for a long time now, even before Angkas came into the picture. The only difference now is that we're working out a system for regulation. And with regulation, things become much more safer. I said this many times, JICA is the most quoted organization for traffic. 3.5 billion peso a day loss. 5+ billion in the next few years, 2035. But one thing that's not quantifiable is really the personal impact to the society. Diba? Sa Metro Manila, pinipili mo yung girlfriend mo, pati yung boyfriend mo, kung gaano kalayo siya nakatira sa'yo. If I'm living in Alabang, at liniligawan kita taga Quezon City ka, long distance relationship yun. And we're gonna have a hard time trying to see each other. It sounds funny, it sounds ridiculous, but it's true. Friendships, diba? It's very hard to maintain friendships. If you're trekking 10 kilometers in 3 hours. It doesn't make any sense. EDSA is only a 20-kilometer road. Diba? Sa 20-kilometer road, if you're running at 40 kilometers per hour, 30 minutes dapat nasa dulo ka na. But obviously that doesn't happen. What about school? Diba? We check school. You know, I have a driver and I have a car. A lot of people don't have that luxury. Everybody else commutes. What is their option? Ngayon po yung anak nila, kailangan mag-aral. Hindi yun sa merit ng eskwelahan, kung gaano kalayo sa bahay or gaano kadali yung commute. Ganun din po trabaho. Diba? How many people do you know or you yourself decided against getting this particular job that you want because it was too far, a commuter was too costly for you? You know, I've changed offices in many of my different companies, and every time I change offices, people will quit. So what we don't realize is a lot of our major life decisions is actually hinged on traffic. Diba? Yun yung pinaka-biggest factor natin eh. Lalabas ka ng bahay, traffic. Lalabas ka ng bahay, wag na lang. Diba? My wife is Singaporean. And from our house in Singapore, papunta sa airport, any time of the day, any day of the week, it's always 30 minutes. Always 30 minutes. So, pag nandito kami sa Pilipinas, feeling na sa Singapore pa rin siya. Lahat kami nag-aaway. Kasi gusto ko umalis ng bahay 2 hours before. Siya gusto niya umalis ng bahay 1.5 hours before. Kasi 1 hour before the flight, 30 minutes yung travel time. And there are times, between Makati hanggang, may na-EX na to between Makati hanggang Terminal 3, it takes us 12 minutes to go there. There are times it takes us 2.5 hours. The problem is unpredictability. Tama, minsan talaga nagugulat lang yung tao ang EDSA, walang kakotse-kotse. Diba? Peak hour, walang kakotse-kotse, minsan. Minsan naman, hindi peak hour, 2 o'clock na umaga, punong-puno from Ayala all the way up to Guadalupe. So, the unpredictability is what kills you eh. Hindi mo maplano yung buhay mo kasi hindi mo alam yung kondisyon ng daan, kondisyon ng traffic. And hopefully, this will be resolved with subway systems, with our rail system, to a certain extent with our bus system, if we're all disciplined enough. But Metro Manila traffic, EDSA traffic, is everybody's fault. Okay, it's the fault of the private motorists, it's the fault of the public utility vehicles. Lahat po tayo may kasalanan dyan. Hindi po yan fault ng motorsiklo kasi pag-ewang-gewang siya dun sa misplaced na motorcycle lane. Hindi yan fault ng bus kasi he takes up two lanes on the side at tumitigil sa gitna ng daan. Hindi rin yan fault ng private motorist na ini-insist na pumunta dun sa bus lane all the time kahit may enforcer sa harap. Ngayon, sabay mo pa ng scooter na nasa side na. It's everyone's fault. And the only way to fix this if everybody works together. And I think what happened to Angkas is we've proven na the government, the private sector, and the public, kasama po yung publiko dito. Kasi yung publiko yung nagbibigay po ng feedback sa public sector, sa gobyerno, can work together to solve a problem. Now with Angkas, yung 2 hours mo nagiging at least 1 hour na lang. Yung isang oras mo nagiging 30 minutes. It really cuts your travel time in half. And hopefully, patuloy-tuloy na po natin to. We're very confident that, because we took the time to train the motorcycle rider, we have a 0.003% accident rate, 99.997% safety record. There are 80 million motorcycles in this country. Okay. Nag-survey po yung SWS last year, 1 out of 3 Filipino families own a motorcycle. Half po yun depend on motorcycles for livelihood. Half. Milyong-milyong taong bayan. 3 milyon lang po yung kotse. Kalahati po niyan nasa Metro Manila. Hence the addition to the congestion. If half of 1/3 of the family households depend on motorcycles for livelihood, don't you think dapat meron tayong regulasyon, meron tayong batas that protects the motorcycle rider and the consumer or the customer of the motorcycle rider? Ang problema natin, I'd like to announce the presence of attorney,
City Traffic
the
Czar.
traffic czar. Thank you for being here, Attorney Ton. But training is very important, diba? One thing that you don't realize is that dun sa 1 out of 3 Filipino family households, 99% yung low-income family. Isa lang po ang eskwelahan sa buong Pilipinas, Honda Safety Driving School. There are other NGOs trying to do it on the side, LTOs trying to do training seminars as well. Pero it's nowhere near the capacity of 18 million motorcycles. And it's very hard to train 18 million motorcycles overnight. It's impossible. But one thing a lot of people don't realize is, yung mga yan, lumaki yan sa tricycle. Right? So nakikita na yung tricycle, walang helmet. Nakikita na yung tricycle, more than one yung pasahero. Diba? Nakikita nila yung tricycle, madaling gamitin kasi yung tricycle hindi nahuhulog. So yung mindset nila growing up for a motorcycle is you don't need to wear a helmet. Diba? You don't need to, you can put more than one passenger kasi ginagawa ng tatay ko yan my whole life eh. More than one passenger sa likod ng tricycle, diba? Dalawa yun sa likod, tapos tatlo or apat yun sa sidecar. So, yun yung nakasanayan nila eh. And you have to always look at it from their perspective and their point of view. Bakit? Sasabihin ko sa inyo, galit na galit kayo sa sinasabi niyong kamote rider sa habal-habal na naglalagay ng more than one passenger. Yung kumuha ba yan ng lisensya or buong buhay nila, meron bang nagturo sa kanila at nagsabi sa kanila na bawal yun? I'm talking about as institutionalized education system. I'm not talking about sinabi mo na sa kaibigan mo na bawal yan kasi hindi ka eksperto eh. A school, right, that will train every single motorcycle rider. Because in Angkas, we've proven it eh. Yung Pilipino, pag tinuruan mo, susunod. Pero, wag mong i-expect yung magic. Yung hindi mo tuturuan, tapos ini-expect mo mag-helmet. Diba? Yung hindi mo tuturuan, tapos mag-expect mo dapat magaling na sila mag-motor. Hindi po pwede yun. Diba? Let's also look at it from where they're coming from. You know, 3,000, magkano Honda Safety Driving School? 2,500, diba? 3,000. 3,000 po ang Honda Safety Driving School. That's already the down payment of the motorcycle. It is the responsibility of the government that allows the purchases or the selling of the motorcycle to make sure that every single citizen knows how to ride it institutionally. You know, we've trained 110,000 bikers to date. Libre po to. We work with the LGUs, we work with the government agencies. But we've only onboarded 27,000. We failed more than 70%. And that 27,000 has resulted to a 0.003% safety record. So kung gawin po natin tama yung sistema natin, marami pong susunod eh. Ang problema, and I'm not pointing fingers because this is inherited since the beginning of time. Diba? Yung mga shortcuts, diba? Yung mga allowing you to get a license restriction 1 na hindi dumadaan sa training. Na wala naman talagang training course na in-institute because wala tayong batas that supports it. All of that is inherited eh. And that's why we have the problem now. That's why 53% of all vehicular deaths are motorcycle related. That's big. And you know what is 90% of the culprit according to World Health Organization? It's because they're not wearing a helmet. 90% of fatalities is because they're not wearing a helmet or they're wearing a helmet nakalagay sa ulo nila, nakalagay sa elbow. You know, I was talking to an enforcer the other day, nakipag-argue sa kanyang yung nagmumotor na may helmet naman daw siya, ba't siya hinuhuli? Meron nga siyang helmet, nasa elbow niya. So,
nandun yung utak.
Nandun yung utak din niya. So, but, diba, nakakatawa, diba? Common sense sa atin. Tayo sa mga edukado, pero hindi yan common sense sa probinsya. Hindi yan common sense sa mountainous region. Diba? Iba yung pinanggagalingan nila. And we need to standardize this type of, you know, education and awareness to all motorcycle riders. And not just motorcycle riders, truck drivers and their blind spots. Diba? Bus drivers, especially the private motorists. Ang private motorists, hindi rin nag-aral yan, marami dyan. Diba? Lahat po tayo pasaway, hindi lang motorsiklo. Lahat po tayo, isang buong bayan ng pasaway sa daan. And I think we should start with ourselves, and we should start doing what we can. And hopefully we get to educate everybody on how it is to have safer roads and how to conduct safer roads. Salamat po.
Thank you.
Nagsusutong lang
Thank you
ako,
so much,
Mama Mor.
George. Sige po.
I think ang problema ho natin, ako po vocal magsalita. Ang problema ho natin mismo, saan nanggagaling ang lisensya? Let's face the reality. Kahit hindi ka marunong magmaneho, basta may pera ka, magkakalisensya ka. So sinisisi natin, bakit ba maraming kamote driver, jeepney? So marami pong pagkukulang. Kaya nga, ang ating pong stand dito, kaya tayo nagkakaroon ng mga ganitong pagtitipon para makatulong, no? Hindi lang ang gobyerno, ang private, media. Siguro this is the time na tayo mismo magsama-sama na humingi na dapat nating baguhin yung sistema. Ang unang-una pong sistema dapat baguhin ang pagbibigay ng lisensya. Kinakailangan po yung maayos, sigurado at talagang dumaan sa proseso. Ikalawa, this is the time na kailangan na po tayo magkaroon ng mga courses para sa motorcycle. Dahil 18 million na motorsiklo. Gaya mo nang sinabi ni George kanina, Mr. Royeka, once na meron kang 1,000, may motor ka na. Sabi ko nga po sa salita namin mga driver, nabili lang ng suka, nagmaneho na. No? Yun ang pinakamalaking problema natin ngayon. Then, tingnan niyo po ang aksidente. Una, sinasabi ang pinakamalaki motorsiklo. Accept po natin na totoo. Because ang motorsiklo po, kahit na hindi niya kasalanan, nadagi lang siya ng konti, motorsiklo pa rin ang sisisihin. No? Alam naman natin na ang motorsiklo, sabi nga nila, kailangan napakaingat mo dahil na kahit na anong ingat mo, nandoon pa rin yung aksidente. No? Pagka sumakay ka raw dyan, isang paa mo nasa hukay na. Dalawa lang ang pwede mong puntahan maghapon, ospital o sementeryo.
Hindi naman po, pero kailangan natin i-correct yan. Hindi ang motorsiklo ho ang hindi safe. Tayong mga tao ang hindi nagpapasafe ng mga whether motorsiklo yan or kotse. Right? Imagine, makabili ka ng kotse, tapos hindi ka man lang na-train kung paano mag-drive.
Yes. Yung pong nagiging problema. Sabi ko nga, itong mga motor, kahit hindi nila kasalanan, sila masisisi. Diba? Laging ganun eh. Lagi pong ganun. Nangyayari sa atin lahat yan siguro. Then, ang isa pong pinaka-importante, yung pong safety training course, na ito po yung, noong una po kasi I'm hesitant eh, regarding sa Angkas. Pero gaya ho nung nakita ko kung paano nila educate, paano nila i-train, gaya na sinabi ko, wala pong problema dyan, basta importante, safety, safety, safety. Kasi ito po yung malaking tulong sa ating bansa, no? Especially dito sa Metro Manila. Nakita nyo naman kung paano kayo mag-antay sa traffic 2 to 3 hours bago ka makatakbo ng 1 kilometro. But the help ng Angkas, itong motorcycle rider natin, na tumutulong, alam nyo, marami ho ang natulungan ng mga estudyante papasok sa school, no? Yung mga magtatrabaho. Alam nyo, pag tayo nalilate sa trabaho demerit yun eh. Diba? So napaka-importante po. Kaya sinasabi namin, siguro may mga paraan pa tayong magagawa para matulungan o mapabilis natin itong angkas na ito na maaprubahan natin. So kailangan po ang tulong ninyo.
Actually, before I move on to Attorney Inton, no, I'm sure many of us would like to hear his thoughts, no, because Quezon City we feel is a microcosm of what's happening. Kasi 1/4 of the entire Metro Manila footprint is Quezon City. Metro Quezon, right? So, napakagandang microcosm yan for the rest of Metro Manila. But before I ask Attorney Inton, totoo ba, George? Kasi may nabanggit si Mr. Lim about yung sa mga estudyante na de-delay. George, may nabalitaan kami na may angkas driver na hindi nagpapabayad pag daw estudyante yung sumasakay. Right? Now it's trending, it's all over. I mean, do you know anything about that?
Masyado yata malaki na hindi nakita ng mga angkas.
Oo nga po, masyado.
Well, you know, that was a transport strike yesterday. They were trying to, help. So meron actually it was a couple of drivers na nagbigay ng libreng sakay sa mga estudyante. So, that was very heartwarming.
Was that institutionalized by Angkas?
No.
It's on their own. Ang galing,
yun.
ang galing, right? Grabe.
Sorry, so guys, what yung pinakamahaba akong speech kanina, what I'm saying is it's very simple. Kung sinasabi ng gobyerno na 53% of fatalities are motorcycle related, bakit after training, 0.003% na lang yung aksidente na Angkas rider? And bakit Angkas lang? If we can institutionalize this across the entire country, then we'll have, we'll have better motorcycle riders. In fact, ang galing nga nila eh. Di ba? Walang turo-turo na tutunan nila para magbalanse ng dalawang wheels. Imagine if we take time to train them. Imagine what we can accomplish. And again, we have to put stock on education because yun talaga hindi natin pinapansin as a country. And it's not just on motorcycles, it's on everything else.
Challenge accepted. As Transport Watch, we're going to take on this critical gap, which is the education, not just of the motorists, but also of pedestrians, because safety is everyone's responsibility.
Natatawa ako kasi dati, growing up, ayoko talaga mag-aral eh. So I'm the last person na gonna recommend studying and staying in school. But you know, I really, this Angkas thing has really changed my perspective. Na talagang pag tinuruan mo yung Pinoy, matututo eh. Akala ko dati, Pinoy ganito, tamad, hindi ginagawa, hindi sumusunod. Hindi, hindi sila sumusunod kasi hindi naman talaga nila alam ano yung dapat. Kasi hindi natin ginawa ng paraan para turuan sila. Totoo po yun.
So side by side with the infra development of the government are non-infra solutions, right? To address this transport transition phase. So kung ano yung pinagdadaanan natin ngayon, tinatawag yung transport transition phase. Habang iniintay natin yung mga long-term solution ng gobyerno, ang MRT, ang train, subway system, nakikita natin nangyayari na. Hindi natin we cannot deny the fact na kailangan pa rin natin yung non-infra transport transition solutions. Now, on that note, I'd like to hear from one of the staunchest advocates of the 18 million motorcycle riders in the country. Talaga po, I think Attorney Inton, ang isa sa mga magandang legacy na nasimulan mo ay ang pag-champion at pagbibigay ng dignidad sa 18 million motorcycle riders na dati ay hindi pinapansin. Right? Sabi nga ni Mr. Ariel, kahit na nasa tama na sila pa rin yung nasa mali. Pwede niyo po bang i-share sa amin ano po ba yung ini-implement natin ngayon sa Quezon City na ultimately pwede po nating i-roll out as a learning to the rest of Metro Manila to help ameliorate this traffic crisis. Sir?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I just would like to thank George for this. One of the sabihin natin, the most challenging roads in Quezon City is Commonwealth.
Oh my God.
And Commonwealth, it will be the next EDSA kung hindi natin talaga ma-prevent. No? And what is...
Ilang lanes na po siya?
EDSA is about 8. But, there's a big but there. When you're already in Fairview, lumiliit. Parang imbudo. Tapos nagiging 4 na lang. So that's the problem with Commonwealth. No? When you start from Quezon Memorial, so wide. Pero pag nasa Fairview area ka na, parang bote, ito na lang, lumilit, imbudo. Ngayon, right now, EDSA, ang daming construction. The MRT and then DPWH has several construction. So, talagang grabe yung sitwasyon. So, when we talk about traffic. And when we studied it, one of the problems of EDSA is that there are 50,000 passengers a day that originates from EDSA, from Commonwealth.
Wow.
Ito yung mga nanggagaling sa mga malalaking barangay sa Quezon City, District 2 yan, which is being represented by Congressman Minnie Castelo. He was here a while ago and now councilor. So he knows the problem very well. Yan nakita natin, bakit na nag-o-occupy sila ng 4 lanes, na they have the zombie mentality of already approaching, running after the buses, the jeepneys during rush hour. The reason is kulang ang public transportation. Yung mga buses na nanggagaling sa dispatching area ng MMDA, somewhere in Fairview, in Robinson Fairview. Pagdating doon sa Commonwealth area, puno na yun. Wala nang masasakyan yung mga tao doon. So, chance passenger na lang sila. So, this I raised during the Senate hearing of Senator Po, no, Senator Grace Po, that the good Senator readily answered, no, na talagang pinaimbestigahan din talaga yung sitwasyon. No? Let's go back to the situation. So we said lack of public transportation. So anong ginawa natin? Sinabi natin sa MMDA, kailangan yung mga buses dadating doon na mag-originate. And then we added other biyahe there because iba-iba kasi yung point of destination mga tao doon. Marami doon Cubao because they would take the connecting ride to Ortigas, doon silang tatrabaho, or Quiapo. Pero napaka-konti ng biyahe doon. You know, in the first few days that we tried to help the passengers, Angkas was there, giving free rides to hundreds of passengers. Siguro, they supplied about 200 Angkas members every day. No? Yung bayanihan sa lansangan. You multiply the 200 riders by 3 passengers na lang at the very least. That's 600 passengers na naihatid nila ng malalapit. But, you know what, ano pa doon? They risk themselves from being apprehended. No? Na-apprehend yung iba doon because hindi nila matanggap na kailangan mag-ano doon because talaga they want to help. So I thank you, George, for that sa mga Angkas riders. Now we go now to the situation of this do we need motorcycle taxi? The answer para sa akin is yes. That's one example. Diba? Lack of public transportation, kailangan natin mas marami masasakyan ng tao. Now, isa lang nasasakyan yan eh. Yeah, it may be one, pero yung bilis naman. No? Yung bilis nun. So as far as passenger demands concerned, yun ang isang point namin. But there is another. So in Quezon City, we had the task force for transport and traffic management. And one of our main function is apprehending violators. Nakita ko yung apprehension record namin. Dati, on the average, Quezon City would probably have about 5,000 apprehension a month. It tripled. Now, when I took over last August, and then September, natin dumami. September, mga 18,000 apprehension. Marami doon motor. And what is the most violation? Walang helmet. Something that you can prevent if you just know safety. That's one. Walang helmet. Number 2, overloading. The motorcycle, kaya nga Angkas, di ba, two riders, the driver and one passenger, one back rider, dalawa. Pero again, ang dami namin na-apprehend ng overloading because nagiging 3, 4. At sino yung madalas may kasalanan nito? Really, it would break your heart na ang mga may kasalanan yan, marami magulang. Parents. Because they are using the motorcycle as a family vehicle. 2, 3 anak nila isasakay sa motor, pahatid sa kanilang eskwela o saan man. No? So, they ended up with at least 4 passengers sa motor. And then, may violation pa sila na bawal yung bata kapag hindi, di ba? Hindi kayang mag-ano. So, yun ang mga problema. So, etong mga to, imagine if they are properly educated, the number of apprehensions will be drastically reduced by hundreds. Or even thousands for that matter. Bakit? they don't wear a helmet, and they overload. Those two problems, kung alam lang nila yung safety, na alam lang nila siguro kung ano yung mga responsibilidad ng rider, this will not happen. Kaya lang, ganun na. So, yun ang isang may share ko sa inyo as far as Quezon City is concerned.
I don't know about you, but I think the most hot-blooded revolutionaries in the country right now are in the transport sector. Tama po ba? Right? It really affects us at a visceral level. Ganon, no? Parang suntok sa sikmura ang traffic sa ating lahat. Thank you so much, Attorney Inton. Now, George, paki-update naman kami bilang Chief Transport Advocate ng Angkas. Ano na po ang status ng ating pilot run? Right? Kamusta naman po yon, and what are the prospects of the pilot as it nears December? Sir.
Yeah, so thank you for that question. The pilot run, awan ng Diyos, no, is running very smoothly. I think we're coming to our second month already, or the second full month. So we've been sending reports to the OTR. We will be, I think, meeting first a TWG meeting in a couple of weeks. That's going to be the first meeting. So gearing up for the presentation to the Senate and to the Congress, the Committee on Transportation and Congress, and the Committee on Public Services, and Senator Grace po in Senate. So, you know, again, this whole entire pilot exercise is really in aid of legislation. So hopefully, based on the learnings that we had from the pilot, we can now craft a much better law. There have been, happy to say, there have been 4 senators that have filed in Senate on July 1. For the motorcycle taxi bill, and hopefully we can adopt na lang the previous one. Senator Grace Paul was one of them. Senator Marcos was another one. Basta check nyo na lang.
And we'll get exact names, right?
Yeah. Sorry, mental block. Pagod.
Yes.
So, yun, we're still, syempre primary pa rin namin is isa pa sa yung batas. But we're just getting all the information together. So hopefully, in due time, we can share the information with the public as well. We'll give you updates as we get them. Thanks.